I would be remiss if I didn't throw this out there because I think of the panel, I've been married I don't know anybody is even. I'm the only married guy.
And you're the
I'm
best
holding
person
out.
for the Tradcons. Like, I don't think they know that you have a successful marriage.
27 and a half
you
years
tell
now.
people, like,
Yeah.
look, just because I did it doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody else.
And that's the thing is like when we were talking about like you can't give people information without telling them how to feel about that information, because if you don't, they will hate you for that, and because they will insert their own meaning into it. Like, what he really means is this. Like, how can Rollo say these horrible things about marriage and still yet have 27 years of a successful, happy, wonderful marriage? And the reason is I'm not against marriage. I think it's a great institution. I wish everybody could have what I have. The problem is I have a problem with the way we do it now, and how it is. We're still clinging to these 20th century ideals in the 21st century and trying to make that work.
The guys at Daily Wire that are married just like you,
Right.
actually married less than you.
Yes.
And they have, maybe their relationship is as good as yours, maybe better, who knows? But they would never admit, you know what, man? Look, I'm religious. It worked out for me. I'm Jewish. She was Jewish. We found each other because I graduated Harvard. I'm
because
well-spoken.
to do so is to deny their faith. That's why. To do so is because if they say
they're invested, so they can't take away their feelings and their emotional attachment to their marriage.
Look at Steven Crowder. Steven Crowder, when he first got married to the first girl that he put his dick in. They went to the same church. He was a writer at Fox News at that time, and he was writing about, I did things the right way and da 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 da. And he was just self-righteous and pontificating the whole time. And I went back. I covered that show when he got divorced, and I went back through his backlog of stories. I found that one that he had done, and I'm like, yeah, well, I bet you're in the real school now, ain't you? Kind of thing. And so I'm covering this, and I go, wow, the difference between what his idealism was then and who he is right now, as a result of what has transpired from the moment he wrote that story to where he is at this point in his life. And I'm like, I'm not saying that's an indictment against marriage. I'm saying it's you not seeing it coming, right? It's you sort of glorifying yourself by putting together this really self-righteous narrative about yourself. Because if he were to say, I don't believe in marriage now, like people would say he's renounced his religion. He's turning his back on God. Same thing with we have I don't know if you know Tanner Guzzi, but he's an old school. You probably know Tanner. Mormon. He's been married twice. He has 6 kids and 1 more on the way. And he just announced that his wife is going to divorce him. He's got 7 kids. And what was his message? I still believe in marriage. I still believe in God. I still believe, because to say, you know what, maybe marriage isn't what I thought it was 6 kids ago.
Yeah.
Now,
it's changed.
But to say that, hey, maybe things aren't the way that I really figured them out. That's like saying there is no God.
Yeah, but the problem is their beliefs. Like you said, you asked Nellie, is like, what is it that a man can get outside of a marriage that he could get in a marriage, and she couldn't come up with anything. When you remember, it was the Y2K people. Mm-hmm. You guys aren't probably old enough to remember this, but when year 2000, you remember, year 2000 happened, there were these religious zealots saying that the world is going to end in the year 2000. But when the world didn't end, they didn't apologize. They doubled down on their belief. It's the same situation. Your wife has left you. Clearly, your strategy was incorrect.
And the other thing too I want to say is, like, the exception doesn't make the rule. Like, Rollo is able to be self-aware and be like, okay, it worked for me, awesome, but the way it is now, it's not going to work for most of y'all. So be prepared. And here's the other thing too, just so people don't know. We met Crowder, great guy, well-spoken, smart.
I would love to meet Crowder. I admire him.
But here's the thing that I want the people to understand. Guys like 6'3", 6'4", well-spoken, obviously multimillionaire, successful, etc., famous, all that, still got divorced. So if he got divorced and he did everything right, he did everything fucking right, religious, everything, literally on paper, the best traditional guy ever. It didn't work for him. Nigga, what the fuck you think is gonna happen? You have 5 for 5, kind of going to Sundays school.
I want to remind.
Come on, man.
I want to remind everyone of this. Just consider this. Ready? Elon Musk, who is one of the smartest humans who has ever lived, put his in Amber Heard. Just always remember that. Always, whatever you're like, hey man, intelligence and she's smart and I'm smart, and let's match it. And like, I'm really smart. Remember, Elon Musk, the man is worth $400 billion. He put his dick in Amber Heard. It actually happened. You cannot tell me that this isn't real, bro. It is just such a great example.
You know what's really dangerous?
You brought up in the Bible, King Solomon.
Yeah.
The wisest man to ever live, known to man in the word. You know his downfall? A woman.
Pussy.
He met a woman that was for the streets, brought into his kingdom. She led him astray and ruined his whole career as a king. Damn. So you're right, bro. The smartest man, wisest man, What's its downfall? Woman.
It's no insulation against the blue pill. Go ahead.
nothing.
Go ahead.
3 quick points. So one with regards to Steven Crowder, one of the things that, and I hadn't really listened to him before the divorce, but one of the things that really made me respect him is because he was being recorded covertly.
Yes.
And the way that he spoke to that woman while he was angry and being recorded covertly, he's a better man than I am. Lord knows.
Yeah, and it's amazing to me how everyone looked at it like, oh my God, did you see how he spoke to her? Motherfucker!
Yeah.
That's how
long she
relationships
recorded
go.
him too, exactly.
That's
Everyone's
how they
been in a
go.
relationship, not yelled at a girl.
She's not going to show all the time. She probably slapped him up or said some shit about him, blah, blah, blah. Like, he said, I will fuck you up, but it was like, he meant from a legal perspective. Because she tried to say, I'm going to come after your reputation. He was like, oh, really? You're going to do that? I'm going to fuck you up legally. But of course they're going to cut that out. She cut the clip up, make him look crazy. I'm sorry, please.
So here's the dangerous thing. I bet my money that every one of us, maybe except Rollo and our economists here, but all of you animals would probably have been more stern and forceful in that moment. And so if a guy like Steven Crowder, who's fairly mild-mannered and soft with it, if they can take him down, they're going to come for all of us. And what we're looking at are levels of masculine expression. I felt like it wasn't very masculine at all. Wasn't very stern at all.
Calm, yeah.
And so they take the guy who's the softy and say he's toxic masculine.
How about Jonah Hill?
So then,
benchmark.
right?
Oh, yeah.
So
How about Jonah Hill? Jonah Hill says, if you want to hang out with people like this and that's the energy you want, I support you. You're a beautiful, incredible woman, but maybe this isn't for us. And they called him a misogynist when he said that. He goes, I support you.
And then he gave her pictures of her naked on Instagram, by the way.
Whatever it was.
Totally valid.
The concept of this, like for instance, if he had been fine with her with pictures in bikini, that's fine. But the thing is, he said he didn't like that. But forget what his preferences are. He gave her the option to leave.
Yeah,
and then he broke up with her, no matter what happens. And then she brought this up when he had his child. Right after he has his child, he's like, "Hey, looks like I'm happy with another woman. Here we go.
Jealous.
Let me throw this in. Let me throw this in." It's like people never care about that part. But the thing is, he tells her, he goes, "I love you and support you." And they called him a misogynist, and it was the craziest thing in the world. I was like, Jonah Hill. I mean, he made a bad decision, but he was not wrong. He was not wrong in anything he did.
We need him to lean into it and turn it up like 3 or 4 times.
That's
the era we're in, where it's like, oh, I'm toxic masculine, fantastic. Let me take off my shirt and just turn it up 30 times.